Okay, hey guys, welcome. So this is it. We're into the penultimate session of this series now, and yeah, this session's a big one. I think this is kind of one of those sessions where we say if you get through this pretty unscathed, you know, feeling strong, feeling good, then you're about ready for some form of testing, no matter what your form of testing is. For our guys, we get them doing 5k or some sort of park run, something like that, something where we can benchmark their progress. You know, I've talked in previous sessions about the various different ways you can benchmark, so I won't be going into that, don't worry. But yeah, this is just one of those kind of boiling point sessions, for want of a better phrase. I'm not sure that's even the right phrase, but we'll go with it. So what we got? Well, we've got the normal. We're just going to walk for a little bit. Workout, as you can see, is pause. Start that shortly. It's very simple. Normal 10-minute warm-up, building up through the effort levels up to about 4 out of 10. We'll just pause, do some dynamics, just some little looseners, and then another 3 minutes of easy running before we get into the main set. And it's very simple. It's just 3 times 10 minutes at 5k effort. So yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it's the big one really. It's that big sort of stereotypical threshold type session. You know, if you cycle 3 times 10 minutes at FTP, you know, that's a big session. You know, you're in for it. So not to kind of alarm you or anything, but yeah, this is hopefully going to be one of those sessions where you come away from it thinking, yeah, I'm strong. So there we go. So let's get going then, shall we? So let's get about to start the workout. You can do it without breaking anything. Here we go. So it's building up through the zones. We're going to start jogging. So one of the things we're going to talk about now in our little warm-up is how you can perform these sessions. So once you've done this build, if you're one of my athletes, we'll then get you into some more structured running. And as the weather improves, we'll probably all be outside, which brings its issues, you know, how to perform tempo structured sessions like this when you're off-road or on a hilly course. And one of the goals of this series is to imbue you with the tools to switch between different metrics, different types of training, and just kind of know what you need to do in each situation. So the ability to switch between heart rate, pacing zones, and rate perceived exertion, you know, switch between the three seamlessly. And hopefully, so what a lot of I'm about to say, you know, we will have already covered. But you know, that's one of the reasons why I've been banging on about this stuff and trying to get you to use the different metrics interchangeably, so that you can just run anywhere, in any scenario, and execute the session that you need to. Because ideally, when you're doing structured tempo sessions like this, you're pretty lucky to have a lovely flat course that you can regularly train on. Particularly in the UK, you know, it's just all hills, and every now and then you get flat section, but it's rarely long enough. So you've got to be pretty lucky if you've got like a really nice, you know, 2 kilometer course or whatever, that's flat, and you can just concentrate on your pacing. But also, if you train abroad or away from home, you do need to be able to adapt your sessions depending on what you need to achieve. So about a few out of 10 is going to bring it up now towards 3 out of 10. Now your approach does depend on the type of session, and if you can, you do want to pick certain terrain for certain types of sessions. For structured run sets like this, you, as I say, you do ideally want pretty consistent terrain, whether that's flat or, you know, like a long steady hill that you can do an effort on. Just being consistent, so you can hold a consistent effort if that's what the session requires. So if you have that option to choose different types of terrain for different sessions, that is dreamland for a runner, really. The Zone 2 runs though, it doesn't matter too much if it's hilly or flat, because you should be able to pick up these sessions. You should have the confidence to manage your effort accordingly. So sometimes on Zone 2 runs, it might be necessary to walk on sections of hills in order to keep your heart rate down. Now, if it's just a little kick, you know, 10-15 meters where it ramps up a little bit, you know, you kind of just get it done. But if it's a sustained sort of period of ramp or high gradient and your heart rate is way above where it should be, just walk it. You know, get the heart rate down. You just need to make a judgment call, really. Is it worth me destroying myself halfway through a long Zone 2 run? Or should I just, you know, be a bit kinder to myself and then have a really good quality rest of the run? Your Zone 2 runs, remember, should be relaxed. Your mind should be able to drift. Only the sort of effort that we're doing now. And it's often about time on your feet rather than, you know, achieving PBs. Regardless, if you have no choice over terrain, you should still be able to do most height of sessions. Unless you live, I don't know, in a perfectly flat, on a salt flat or something, you know, you're not going to have any hills. But I'd suggest most people have hills near them of some description. Particularly for running, you don't need the long one. So, for instance, this session would actually be a really good one. Have a short hill in the middle, because, you know, we're preparing you for events, preparing you for racing. So it'd be really good if you had a short hill in the middle, so that you can work on sustaining effort and speed over that lump. And we also have sessions that we give our athletes. As we just go up to sort of a 3.5 out of 10, shall we say. You know, we actually have sessions where we will get our athletes to do maybe a 2.5 kilometer course, and they'll have a lump in the middle, and they'll run a strong but not hard effort up the hill. But it's actually the descent where we get them to push, get them testing themselves on the descents, get them testing their descending skills, but also start to build some impact resistance. Because if you've ever done an event and you finished it and your calves are just exploding, largely it's the descents that cause that. And so getting some experience of running hard downhill, it might not seem that important, but it's really crucial, because it's one of those things that you might not think about to do, but can actually really ruin a race. So what I'm getting at really is, it doesn't really matter where you are, as long as you understand the core purpose of your session and you try and sacrifice the spirit of it, no matter where you are. What it does mean though is reading the workout instructions in advance. I'm really trying to understand what you're trying to achieve. If you're not sure why, ask. Athletes can be a bit guilty at times, just kind of going through the motions a little bit, seeing their session and just doing a session, and not really thinking about what they're trying to achieve with it. As we go up to a 4 out of 10 now, I'm just going to stay here for the last 2.5 minutes. Yeah, if you think you're maybe guilty of that, and I don't want to be too harsh, because sometimes we just need to not think about stuff. You know, we've got busy lives, and you pay for a training plan or you pay for a coach. Largely so you don't have to create stuff yourself. But if you really want to advance, knowledge is key. And part of that is understanding why you're doing everything. Because not only will that knowledge mean you'll execute that session better, but also going to help your motivation. Understanding how it fits within the big picture. So just really encourage you to have a think about what each session is meant to be achieving, and then pick a course that will help you achieve that. And you don't need to be a slave to the instructions. You don't have to be a slave to the pacings. If you've only got hills around you, rely on RP. If you are in a situation, so where we live right at the top of a really steep hill, there's not many roads to run on that are safe. He's got all these psychopaths in their big 4x4s racing little Johnny to school. So the country roads near us are pretty terrifying. So pretty much all our running is off-road, or the vast majority of it, which means that I don't tend to use pacing that much at all. And so almost all my running done according to heart rate and RPE. That's totally fine. Yes, you don't have the average pace, you're like, oh, that's faster than last week and I didn't even feel it, or whatever, because with the sloppiness of the trails at the moment, there's no pace to be found. But as long as you're benchmarking periodically, you can still gauge your progression. Anyway, last 15, then we'll take a quick pause and get some dynamics. Rest. What's the workout? Cool. Get over to the mat now. Just take a moment. So, what we're going to do is going to have a little, because this is a tough set, we're just going to do a few little plyometric type exercises just to kind of give you a bit of punch. So you're going to start down on split stance like this. You don't have, if you're outside and you're listening to this, you don't have to put your knee on the floor. You can just sort of hover above. I'll show you what we're up to and then you can kind of make an informed decision. So the important is you start back with your weight kind of in the middle. Then you're going to shift your weight forward, power up like that. Lean back down, shift the weight forward, explode. So when you're shifting forward, the weight is moving all the way, like running, weight shifting all the way through into the ball of your feet, and then you're powering up. Okay, so we're just going to do 5 of these on each side. You take whatever stance you can, shift the weight forward, power up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, into the other side. Weight back, shift it forward, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're going to take the feet nice and wide, toes pointing diagonally out, and we're just going to go into a rock like that. Just go a little bit further each one, doing 5 of these on each side. 3, 4, 5, onto the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, warming up the calves now. Just going to do some calf raises and tap your heels at the top, like that. 2, 10 of these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I'm just going to finish off with some hops, okay? Just as it sounds, hopping on the spot, steps are 20 seconds or so, right on your toes, okay? And that's it. Right, let's get ready to run again. Open the door so I have more oxygen in here. Little sip of fluids. You got them before we start? Okay. There I am. Right then, guys. So let's get going again. So steadily, over the course of 3 minutes, building back up. The 4 out of 10, you don't need to get there straight away. Just remember, one of the recurring themes of these sessions, we're always talking about not kicking. Yes, you might have to do that in a race, but the examples are sorry, I just realised the workout had paused. The instances where you'll need to actually properly kick are relatively rare. Generally speaking, what we want to be doing is building our efforts slowly, which is hard to do because, you know, when someone goes past you, or you know, you do a dead turn or whatever, the instinct is to really explode back up to speed. But as I described on a few occasions, whenever you kind of explode and kick, it means that you're going anaerobic, at least, maybe not for a long time, but at least for a short time. And then that's going to flood your system with lactate, and it's going to add to your fatigue, and you'll pay for it towards the end. So, steady build. So, when we go into these 3 by 10 minute 5k efforts, build. Really encourage you to build. I'm quite guilty of it when I do these sorts of sessions outside, is because there's other people around. You know, I will just kind of kick straight up to speed, and then by the end of the effort, you know, my legs are just solid blocks. I can't lift them, you know. So let's really get into a habit of building into efforts. Because if you're doing a race and you've got a particular average speed, average pace that you want to hit, you only need to hit that average by the finish line, if you get what I mean. You don't need to hit and hold that average for the entire race. Now that skill of timing it so you hit that time towards the end, you know, that does take time. That takes experience and confidence and the willingness to get it wrong. You know, a lot of racing and events is about taking risks and being willing to get it wrong. Okay, so less than a minute, and we're going to go up to effort. Eight seconds. Try and relax. I'm going to be saying that a lot. This is exactly the sort of session where you forget. So apologies if I get annoying. But you're going to hear me say that a lot. Shoulders down, chin up. Let's get ready to build up to effort. Ready? Okay, here we go. Start to build. Try and break these 10-minute efforts up into blocks. So 4 times 2.5 minutes would be my recommendation. So building slowly. Then we pause for the first minute. The other thing you might find is, if you, with modern watches these days, it can be slow to react. So what I often find is, if I sort of explode up to pace, I often go way too fast and then have to bring it back down anyway. So it's better to build, give the watch time to kind of catch up. Now, even with this smart treadmill setup there's a delay, and well, to be honest, the way Zwift interprets the fit files is bizarre. But you'll see I'm quite often not at the pace that is set as a target in Zwift, because it doesn't match what's in the fit file from the training peaks. Anyway, so we should be doing 8 out of 10 now, or getting there at least, but still building maybe. Not looking too far ahead, just focusing on getting to 7.5 minutes to go first 2.5 minutes. That's all we should care about. So, first reminder to relax. Get that chin up first, and work your way down the body. Shoulders down, hands relaxed. Chest proud. Nice leg drive. Quarter of the way through, that's the first 2.5 minute sector down. Think about the next one. Don't look too far ahead. Well done, guys. About how much quality time you're going to be accruing. Really dig deep for this session. Got this. This session hasn't just come out of nowhere. You're equal to it. You've built to it. You're all ready for it. So keep that chin up. Keep breathing. Keep relaxed. Let's just do the job. Well done, guys. 8 out of 10, remember. 5k pace. Heart rate should be getting somewhere near your threshold heart rate. Keep checking the 3 metrics. Making sure you're doing the right thing. This is a hard session, but we don't want it to be pure hell. Be sensible. Approaching halfway. There we go. Next 2.5 minutes. Let's focus on that. Chin up. Shoulders down. Think about driving those knees. Really strong leg drive will improve your efficiency. But if you're at a level where you really think about it, don't worry. Doing it now might take that extra bit of effort. But over time, you'll become more and more efficient and it'll become habitual. Powering those knees up and through. And guys, not far, and we're into the final quarter of the effort. Chin up. Just caught myself in my chin down. Well done, everyone. Doing a great job. Hopefully it's feeling hard, but not hell. If you're really struggling, take it down. There's no ego in these sessions. We want your heart rate in the right place. We're into the final quarter of the interval. Nearly there, guys. Remember, this is an effort that you should be able to sustain for probably double this amount of time. Double and maybe some more. Okay, so just keep that in your mind when you're doing these intervals. To come towards the last 90 seconds, you shouldn't have just 90 seconds left in you. Don't get me wrong, you're working hard. Okay, 90, check where you're at. Go down the body to relax. How are you feeling? Is this really 5K effort? Could you sustain this for another 10 minutes or so? Don't worry if you got it wrong. Just ease back. Hopefully that's not an issue and you're just absolutely dominating. Focus in the last minute. Here we go, 60. Finish off strong. The last 35. Don't increase pace, just hold steady. Plenty more hard work to come. Got a lovely 3 minutes recovery after this. 20. 10. All the way to the end. 3, 2, and 1. Well done, guys. Okay, I'm just going to put the fan on. Absolutely roasting today. At the time of filming, it's end of February, and we've just had a few days of really wet, cold conditions, and then randomly today, really mild. Absolutely soaking wet out, but really mild today. So maybe that's it. I'm absolutely drenched already. So make sure you're replacing some of those fluids as you go. Nice strong electrolyte drink. That's actually plain water. Hopefully, because I've run out of tabs, but hopefully you've got a nice strong electrolyte drink in there. For our athletes, if you go to the members area, we did a turbo session on this recently, but go to the members area, there's some good info there on preloading, on pre-hydration. hopefully you're nice and hydrated beforehand. That's what I use my last 2 tabs on, is making sure that my drink had a 500ml drink with 2 electrolyte tabs in it, so it's at least 500 milligrams of sodium. Ideally it'd be a little bit more, but I only had 2 tabs left. So yeah, really strong electrolyte drink. Read the article in the members area for the specifics. We did a social post on this recently, so if you're watching this later than sort of March, February 25, then yeah, go to our socials, you'll find the video we did on preloading. Okay, last sort of minute of walking. So that's round 1 done. You're already a third of the way through the session. If you get the pacing, if you get it a bit wrong, it happens all the time. I get it wrong sometimes as well. You know, if you ever get the pacing wrong, guys, just got to take the ego out of the equation and just be willing to take it back, stand back a notch, recover a little bit, and then just be a little bit more clear in the effort that you should be doing. But have that in the back of the mind where we're trying to hit certain sort of event pacings. It's the easiest way to structure these sessions, really. And so if you're thinking, if I'm saying to you, can you do this basically for another 10 minutes, that's probably another 10 minutes to do an actual 5k where you're going to be absolutely gassed at the end. But you know, the thought in your head, can I do this for another 10 minutes? If the resounding answer is no, just get rid of the ego. Okay, it's not a big deal. No one else cares. It's only you that cares, really. So you have to remember that. Sometimes we're our own biggest enemies. So for instance, now let's just be a bit kind on ourselves as we build up to pace. Start by getting up to a 4 out of 10, saying 2. Once you're up to 4 out of 10, just work through the zones. So it's building to a 5, then to a 6, to a 7, and an 8. You don't even have to do it that quickly, to be honest. You can be slower than that. It really doesn't matter. Particularly not in training. Yeah, you want your training sessions to be hard, but you also want to be able to recover from them. So you got to deal with how your body's feeling at the time. You're just not really kind of at the races or whatever. There's no harm in just giving yourself like a little bit of a slower build up to pace, you know. As I say, no one else cares. Anyway, first reminder to relax. Shoulders down, chin up. Get towards, relax the hands. Ride those knees. Let's finish this. Keep your one eye on your heart rate. I'm a big fan of the Swift UI. Don't know how changeable it is. I was looking all around for my heart rate then. It's a tiny little number. Fairness, I'm yet to use a training platform where I like the UI without issue. I do worry sometimes who builds these, and I worry that they're not, you know, taking very much feedback on what people actually want to see and how clear they need it. So for instance, who works to speed, kilometers an hour? No one. We all work 2 minutes per kilometer. That's just standard practice. But yeah, at the very top, it's a tiny little number. Anyway, who cares? You're already over a quarter of the way through. Just focusing on the next 2 minutes now. Constantly telling yourself, even though you're working hard, Let yourself to relax. Your heart rate should be around your 5k heart rate, threshold heart rate, or at least for us it is. Other coaches, etc., will use different kind of categorizations. Doesn't really matter as long as you're consistent. Basically, you just want to know is your heart rate where it should be for the effort that you're putting in. Okay, not far off. Halfway now. Chin up. Okay, so that's halfway. Your next reminder to relax, so chin up, shoulders down. Shake out the hands, drive the knees. Stay focused, stay calm. Focus on the next minute and a half. Oop. Next couple of minutes.
Down, up, down, up,
And then we're into the final push.
up and down, elevator up, down, up, down,
Yeah.
up, down,
There's a reason I do this job and I'm not an accountant.
down, up, and down,
Rocket maths.
and down, elevator.
This shit high.
My heart rate is at 144 in fairness.
Take it because you want it. Don't need permission because you already own it. Don't need to fake it because you want it. Don't need permission because you already own it. Own it. Bring me back, bring me back, bring me back.
Okay, just over a minute, and we're into the final quarter of interval.
Down, up, down,
Yeah.
up, down, up, and down, elevator up, and down, up, and down, up, and down, up, elevator.
This shit high.
And down, up, and down, up, and down, elevator, elevator.
Take it because you want it. Don't need permission because you already own it. Don't need to fake it because you want it. Don't need permission because you already own it. Own it. Bring me back, bring me back, bring me back, bring me back, bring me back.
Now, approaching the last 2.5 minutes, where you're at effort-wise. Could you sustain this for a bit longer? Maybe not double, because you've already got fatigue in your legs, but, you know, at least another 5 minutes after the next two. Can you do that? Final reminder to relax. Okay, we're near there. Hold on. Stay strong. 2 minutes. 90 seconds, come on, you can definitely hold on for 90. Let's finish strong. Finish with purpose. Fixing the last 60 seconds of effort. Here we go, then reset the clock, kick it out. Let's do a strong French proud with our chin up. Dominate the last 50 odd seconds. Point five. Dirty. Last 15, you're nearly there. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo. And relax. Well done, guys. Just walking, keep the legs moving. Heart rate down. Putting the heart rate down. Flush out some of the lactate. So well done, guys. Good job. So I've had athletes ask me about, we do this session with our athletes very regularly. Been asked, like, you know, if you're doing a sort of sub 20 minute 5k and you've just done 2 intervals of accumulating 20 minutes, you know, what does that mean in terms of now going to do kind of more than you would in a 5k race? And like, really, like, the answer is, if you're in that sort of situation, like, this is why we work in pacing zones. Okay, so yeah, you might have a really good 5k time which sets your training zones, but that 5k, you know, you've got, hopefully if you're doing like a park run or a race, you know, you've got other people around you, you've got a little bit extra adrenaline, whereas in your training you're probably not going to have that. So you do have to be a bit more realistic about what you can do in training. Sometimes you just have a dream session and you're good to go, but if you've been training elsewhere in the week, you've got a bit of fatigue in your legs maybe, you just got to be a bit kinder. And again, that's another reason why we're constantly tending to switch between pacing zones, heart rate, RPE, but it should be a zone. And you know, sometimes you'll be at the bottom of that zone, that pacing zone. Sometimes you'll be able to sustain towards the top. And if you're on one of those days today and you're right at the top of your pacing zone and you're just like, yeah, got it, then that suggests to me you're ready for an assessment. That's part of the point of doing this session. But if you're not, and you're towards the bottom, right, some days you're not able to get anywhere near that pacing zone. Even if you are on a flat course, like we were talking about earlier, you got all the right conditions. Sometimes you're just not there, you know. And when you have days like that where you're just not able to get anywhere near the pacing, heart rate's through the roof. This is all what I'm talking about in terms of, you know, be able to switch between the metrics and just kind of make a judgment, sensible judgment. So you should, regardless of your level, be able to do 3 by 10 minutes, roughly at somewhere near your 5k pace. Because we've got this lovely 3 minutes recovery, which I'm afraid has just ended. So, bit of an evil laugh. So just remember, we're building steadily, and that's another thing to say if you're one of those real quickies. The first minute or so should be building, okay? So just remember, up to a 4 out of 10 to begin with. Get comfortable there, get the legs going again. They might be a bit heavy, just need to wake them up again. Then we start to build up through a 5, through a 6, through a 7, and then eventually landing at an 8 out of 10. And we're just focusing on the first 2.5 minutes, not looking too far ahead. The final interval, guys, dig deep for another 9 minutes or so, and then you're done. Okay, first reminder to relax. Chin up, shoulders down, chest forwards, hands nice and loose, and driving those knees. Try and stay that minute away. All those little efficiency savings will help you through this final interval and tail end of a race. The hardest time to do it though. Approaching the end of the first quarter, first 2.5 minutes down. There we go, let's just focus on the next 2.5 minutes. Don't look any further ahead. Stay calm. Rely on that rising heart rate. Maybe you've been working on RPE or pace until now, but maybe we're at a time now where you've got to pay more attention to the heart rate. You want that in the right area. The sort of heart rate you would hit during a 5K. If it's well above that, you're going too hard. So these sessions are fluid. It's not every single interval is the same. Last minute, the second sector. Nearly that halfway point, guys. Right, and here we are. You sit up to the proverbial or real slap across the face, reset the clock. Let's dig in now. 5 minutes of hard work. Let's finish this off. Start by telling yourself to relax. And then now tell yourself, drive those knees. You've got this, let's do it. No qualification of that. You finishing this session in a high quality way is an inevitability. That's a hard word to say. And 145 beats per minute. Come on. When it comes to self-talk, don't qualify it. It's never a can. I can do this. It's I'm going to. It needs to be a sense of inevitability. Even just saying it out loud now, I suddenly felt a surge of adrenaline. Can't accuse me of not caring. Into the penultimate sector. Pick me up on the final sector now. Here we are then, the last sector of the session. Relax first. Okay, take yourself to relax. Then tell yourself, this is happening. This will be finished, and it will be finished in style. There is no ifs and buts. 3 minutes and 15, arming those legs, look, standing tall, barely flinching. You got it. Last two minutes. Okay, approaching 90 to go. For me, 90 seconds to go. It's always that sort of tipping point where I know I can finish this. I can finish this at the effort I'm sustaining. Nothing can stop me because I could do 90 seconds purely anaerobic if I needed to. You don't need to do that today. You just need to hold pace, hold effort, hold heart rate. You can see my heart rate's now kicked up to 153 as I've got myself a bit overexcited. Last 60. $45. Last 30. Nearly there. Stone's throw now. 15 seconds. 10. Ready? Done! Yes, guys! That is a big session under the belt. That's one of those sessions, like I said earlier, where if you get through it well, yeah, you know you're in a good place. So well done, guys. Just one more session left in this series, and then we're done. But just remember what we're talking about in terms of kind of forming sessions in different scenarios. Whole one of the primary purposes of this series is to give you the confidence, the skills to adapt to the scenario. And a big part of it, I think, particularly if you're running outside, maybe in like an urban environment, is not giving a shit about anyone else. I've been blessed with not being able to give a shit what anyone thinks my whole life, but it's also got me into a lot of trouble, don't get me wrong. But in this very specific context, it's one of my strengths. I'll do what I want when it comes to my training. I don't care how I look or what other people think about me resting for 3 minutes. You know, I just really encourage you to try and adopt the same attitude when you're doing these sessions. It's all about you, this session. It's all about you. So when it comes to, I'm running at 5k pace, but my heart rate is much higher. You know, if you were saying that out loud to somebody else, they were just like, ease off then. You got to be able to have those conversations with yourself and just ignore kind of what slowing down a little bit might look like to somebody else. Maybe you're in a group session, you know, you don't have to be competitive all the time. You need to get out of the session what you need to get out of it. And the focus, the priority should always be on high quality training. That might mean, you know, sometimes giving yourself a kick up the arse and like, right, I need to get my head into this, I need to work harder. And sometimes it's like, okay, I'll just let that person go, I don't care. You know, if you're running with mates or whatever, sometimes you need an easier day, and sometimes you do need to give yourself, as I said, a verbal slap across the face to just get engaged. You know, I have that every now and then, particularly if I've been at a stressful work day. Sometimes when I start a session, you know, my mind will just be slightly off center, and sometimes I have to like, right, this is your time right now. One of the few opportunities you get in your day to kind of think about yourself. So sometimes you have to have that conversation. Anyway, that was getting a little bit heavy over the last 20 seconds of the session. So just walking out, make sure you have a good old stretch after this. Your legs will be full of lactate. So if you need more time walking out, then do it. Yeah, you'll instinctively know when you're ready to stop walking, basically. But they're all done, guys. That's the penultimate session, just one more left in this series. And then you'll be a fully fledged running monster. So well done, guys. I'll see you next time.